What's up guys, welcome back to the Tacoma channel. Today we're installing RAPTOR lights in the Toyota Pro Grille. Like future Taco Rick has already said, today we're going to be installing RAPTOR lights on my 2020 TRD off-road Tacoma, which has a lot of mods if you cannot tell already. And if you would like to learn more about any of these mods, check out all the videos on my channel. There are a bunch. Which brings me to one point before we start this video. Believe it or not, out of all the views I get on YouTube, 90% of them are from people that aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, which is kind of mind-blowing. So, if you're one of those people and you want to learn more about Tacomas and awesome modifications that you can do to your vehicle, be sure to click that subscribe button. Anyways, let's jump on into it and let's get started. First things first, let's pop the hood. If you guys have not already seen my video on how I added hydraulic lifts and lights to my hood, go check it out. It was actually the last video I uploaded. If you guys didn't catch the last video when I added these hydraulic lift struts and the lights to my actual hood, which are on a switch right here, go check out the video. It was actually the last one I just posted. So go check it out if you want to learn more about that. Anyways, we're doing RAPTOR lights. So I have the Tacoma TRD Pro Grille on my off-road. So what we're gonna be doing is installing RAPTOR lights. And believe it or not, this is actually a very easy to do install. So let's jump over to the table and look at what we're gonna be using for this install. So right here is the RAPTOR light kit that I got off of Amazon to do this install with. So this is everything that's in the box. We have the RAPTOR lights themselves, which are plug and play. They just snap on into the grill. And then we have the wiring harness and the add-a-fuse. The add-a-fuse right here, which will tap into the fuse box. That'll power everything. It's very simple. So if we take one of the RAPTOR lights, like I said, it's very simple. You literally just find the slot you want to put it in. So I'm going to go with this slot, and then you just plug it in. You literally just push it in. It snaps into the grill, and you're good to go. Then you just have to run the wiring. And in this kit, there are 4 RAPTOR lights. Now, you don't have to run all 4, but it comes with 4 RAPTOR lights. I'm actually going to be using 3 though. And in typical Taco Rick fashion, I'm going to overcomplicate it and make it perfection by doing it at the very top, which is going to cause some modifications. Now, obviously, you can easily pop these in right here. If I wanted to do 3, I could do one here, one here, one here. Pop them in, run my wiring harness over to the fuse box, wire it up like we'll do later in the video, and you'll be good to go. But me personally, I want my RAPTOR lights to go on the very top row, which means we're gonna have to cut out this little bit of plastic here to allow us to pop in the RAPTOR light. So what I'm gonna be doing is actually taking the whole entire grill assembly off, which I've done, I think, like 20 plus times now on this channel to actually do all the various modifications like the headlights and the fog lights, etc., and the light bar. But in doing so will also allow me to show you guys more detailed of how I'm gonna be mounting in these RAPTOR lights. So to recap, if you wanna go ahead and just plop them in like normal, good to go. No modifications needed at all. All you'll need in terms of tools is some zip ties to maybe tidy up your wiring. You'll need a crimp tool, so a crimper to crimp down your connection onto this right here, and maybe a pair of snips to snip off any of the excess on the zip ties themselves. But if you want to go down my route and actually take the grill off and do some modifications, basically we're going to need a 10mm socket and a flat nose screwdriver to take the actual grill off, and then we're going to need a really sharp blade to cut out those little bits of plastic. Let's go ahead and get into it, and let's take off the grill. I've shown this in about a million other videos now of how to take this off, but there's 2 10mm bolts, one here, and then there's 6 clips. There's 1 clip right here, 1 clip right here, and then there are 4 clips down here in this little gap right here. You'll find them, but there's 4 clips down there. Take all those clips out, take the 2 bolts out, and the whole grill will pop right out after you disconnect this connection right here. So there's a connection right here that you also need to disconnect, and you gotta take this little bit of wiring out. That goes to the radar sensor on the front. So if you have a newer than 2018 and up, you'll have the radar sensor, so you have to remove this harness as well. But the 2016, 2017 don't have that. But anyways, let's take the grill off. All right, so with the grill off of the truck, I can show you guys where we're gonna be mounting these up. So I'm doing 3, like I mentioned. I don't like the look of 4. I prefer 3. 3 is what's on the Ford Raptor, so I actually prefer the 3 look. The first one is in the center right here, so we're gonna be putting it right there. So we're gonna have to cut out that upper little bit of plastic right there, like I mentioned. And then we're gonna do it on the outer 2 right here. So like I mentioned, all I'm going to be doing is taking a X-Acto blade or a utility knife right here with a nice sharp blade and just cut out the plastic that is right there so that my Raptor lights will slide in. So I'm going to set you guys up on a time lapse and I'm going to go ahead and cut those out, and then we'll move into the fun part of wiring this up. So as you can probably tell, I quickly realized that a sharp blade is just not going to do it. This plastic is actually a lot stronger than I presumed. So you actually need to use something a little more intense, like this little Dremel I got right here. This Dremel tool cut right through it very easy, like a hot knife through butter. What I did was I used the Dremel tool and I was able to cut out everything that I need to cut out. So as you can see, it's not the prettiest, and I'm actually gonna go get my file and I'm gonna file that down so it's nice and clean. But I used the Dremel tool to basically cut out all of that plastic that was there. This thing works wonders. So that's number one. The light now slides through very easily. Yeah, I say easily, but one-handed is not that easy. It pops into place. Again, one-handed, not as easy. It is definitely a little bit tighter of a fit, but it does pop down into place nice and good. So that is number one done. Two more to go, and then we'll move on to wiring. And there you have it. The Raptor lights are now installed. This is a good point to point out that this kit that I bought on Amazon has both white, amber, and amber smoked. So I have the smoked amber ones right here, and I'm actually considering that I will replace these down the line and go with the white version just because of the color scheme of my truck. But I'm gonna keep them amber for the meantime. There's amber in the little turn signals, but the halos are white, and the daylight runners that are run for the most part are red. So I'm not sure how well amber will look. We will see here in a bit. But that is done. So now I'm gonna pop the grill back onto the truck, put it back on, and we will do the wiring. All right, so here is the wiring harness, and like I mentioned, it's all plug and play. All we're gonna have to do is plug in a fuse and crimp it. So this is the whole wiring harness right here. It has all of our little clip connectors that clip into our Raptor lights. These just clip in very simply. And then on this end, we have a red and we have a black. So the red is our power, the black is our ground, and we have an add a fuse. I will show you guys now how we add the fuse. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap into our daylight runners, because we want the amber lights to be on when we're using our daylight runners. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this wiring harness to give you a layout here. But basically, I'm gonna run the wiring harness to here where we can connect to our Raptor lights that are in the grill themselves. And then I'm gonna fish the wire in a very elegant way around to here where we can tap into the fuse box to get our power, and we can attach the ground to the main ground that's right here on the truck. I'm gonna go ahead and do the wiring portion, and I'll show you guys the finished wiring, and then I'll show you guys how we tap into the fuse box. All right, so I have already gone and connected all of my Raptor lights. So here's one of them. There's one right behind here. I used some zip ties and zip tied this little bundle of cable right here. This is where the breakout is for all four of them. There's another one plugged in over here, and I ran the wire with some zip ties around behind the headlight and underneath the back of the battery here. I have a lot of additional wiring for other stuff that I've wired. Like right here is the switch for the lights above. I got my diode dynamics box for my color changing daylight runners. These change multiple colors, my halos, all that fun stuff. I got a lot of additional wiring that most of you guys might not have. This is the relay for my light bar, etc. But right here are the two wires that we need. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm going to connect the ground wire. So this is very easy. You could go a little bit more crazy with this, but all I'm gonna do honestly is loosen up the ground nut right here. This is the ground connection. I'm gonna tuck this wire in behind here and screw it back down. It'll be perfectly good for these simple LEDs that we're gonna be running. Now on the power wire side, this one we're gonna have to connect into the fuse box. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the fuse box off. If you've never taken the fuse box off before, there's three little latches. There's one here, you just push on it. So push there. There's one on the back side right here, push there. And then there's one on the front side right here. So if I can get around all my wiring that I got in here and do this one-handed, I can get the third one off and you should be able to take your fuse box off. just like that. Now, this looks very, very, very complicated. Yes, I know. But if anyone doesn't know, there's a diagram for your fuse box right here inside of the lid of the fuse box. So if you look here, we're looking for DRL or daylight runner, and that is actually right here. So right here we have the 15 amp for the fog lights, and then we have the 10 amp for our daylight runners. That is the fuse that we're gonna remove and add in our add fuse so that we can power our Raptor lights. And we got the handy dandy fuse removing tool right here. So this is very easy. You just squeeze here, put it on the fuse, and pull it out. So if we look down here into our fuse box, right here is the 15 amp for our fog lights, and this 10 amp right here is the one that we need for our daylight runners. So I'm gonna go ahead and clamp that around it. Just clamps around it like so, and then you just pull it and you have your fuse. So that is where our daylight runners are. So let's go ahead and grab the add fuse and I'll show you how that works. So this right here is the add fuse, and as you guys can see, this will go into the fuse slot right here, and then there are now going to be two fuses. So we put this one that comes in the kit, it's another 10 amp one, you put it right in there, and you take the one that you took out and you put it right here. And now we are ready to reinstall this add fuse. So on this end right here, we have a crimp connection. So we're gonna take our crimpers right here and we're gonna crimp on the power wire to our add fuse. So right here we have our add fuse, and right here we have the wires coming from the Raptor light harness. This is already pre-wired, so I can take this red and pull it off. And I have my nice little wire right there ready to go into the add fuse circuit. So this is a crimp connection. So all I'm gonna do is insert this copper into the add fuse. So I'm gonna take it, I'm just gonna take it and put it into the actual line here, put it down in there, and then I'm gonna take my crimper and crimp this down. And now the wire is secure and ready to go. What the hell? Well, it just started to storm. Like, it's windy and gusting and all kinds of crap. Damn. Makes me happy I got a garage, but not gonna be easy getting up to my apartment now. Anyways, I'm gonna speak loudly over the loud ass rain, and we're gonna continue this install because we're almost done. So now that our add fuse is fully assembled, we can now put it into that slot. So if you guys remember, it's down here. So with our add fuse fully assembled, all we have to do is put it into the slot. So right here's our slot, put it in there, and we are good to go. And we're done. Tuck your wire accordingly, put your lid back on, and we're good to go. Alright guys, so I've been off camera for a little bit because I ran into some issues when I finally hooked this up. So when I hooked it up to the daylight runner, what happened was the lights stayed on completely, like the whole time. So I ended up looking up the instructions online, which is something I never do when I do an install. The way they have you doing the add fuse, apparently with the fuse box, the only fuses that only turn on when, like, say lights are on are the headlights. And I'm sitting here like, I don't want my Raptor lights to only turn on when I have my headlights on. I want them to turn on when, like, I have my daylight runners on. So I MacGyvered because I've done all the wiring and stuff on the back side of these headlights for all the custom stuff. Basically, I tapped into the wire harness right here, the wire harness for my actual daylight runners. So this is the wiring harness, and this orange wire right here is the power. So I connected my red power to the orange wire. I will clean this up here in a bit, but now these turn on when I turn on my my daylight runners. Kind of interesting that the fuse doesn't work like that inside of the truck, but that is what I figured out. So now I have it wired so that when I turn on my daylight runners, it turns on. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up that wiring. I'm gonna put a little electrical tape around that connection right there, clean it all up, and that'll be the install. I'll have my Raptor lights, and I'll turn them on for you guys here in a second. So let me clamp the wiring, and we'll get to it. And there you have it. Raptor lights on the Toyota Tacoma aftermarket Pro Grill, installed and working. You guys can kind of see right now, I don't know how well you guys can tell, but I run red in my daylight runners. As you guys can tell, the halo overpowers everything, but the red and the amber markers kind of clash, and I don't know how I feel about that. But I will tell you, I do have something coming for down here that'll also be this amber color, this yellow amber color. So I might have to suck it up and change the RGB color that I'm running on my headlights to something different, which I can do easily with my app. So this is the Diode Dynamics app. It controls my color changing daylight runners. If you guys have never seen them before, I installed all this. I retrofitted the headlights, painted them black on the inside and everything. These are the OEM headlights. I just did all kinds of mods with them from Dial Dynamics. So I can run white, just classic white with the white halos. That looks clean. Probably run a green. Green would probably look good. I also have this orange color that kind of matches the amber. That matches the amber pretty well. I might rock that for a little while. But anyways, that's the video. But anyways, guys, that is how you install Raptor lights on the Toyota Pro Grill, the aftermarket one on the 2020 Tacomas. Again, I will reiterate, I did it a very complex way, as I normally do with most modifications. I don't do it the very basic way that they give it. I like to do my own little flair to it. By like mounting them up top versus mounting them below. You could easily do this whole entire project, just plug and play, throw them in there. You could also wire them straight to your headlights, and it's all plug and play. You wouldn't have to do anything. And the company that has these, they have their own video on how to do that. This is just me doing it, and I wanted to mount them up here, and I wanted to wire them to my daylight runners and not to my actual headlights. So I did that, and that's the video. So if you liked it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Leave it down in the comment section down below what you guys thought of this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I will say it here at the end because I didn't say it at the beginning, but I'm on the journey to 10,000 subscribers. And when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to be buying myself a sports car for the channel. I have some ideas. It will be a manual. It will be a V8. So if you guys have any guesses on what I'm looking at, leave it down in the comment section down below. But yeah, sports car, manual, V8 coming to the channel when we hit 10,000 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button, share it, turn on post notifications, and like I have been doing in the past videos. My name is Taco Rick. This is a new mod video. I don't have an outro, but Taco Rick out. Peace.